So top 8 is 3 more rounds, best 2 out of 3, single elimination. So that means if you lose 1 round, you're out. And so if I remember correctly, it was 3 Gears, 1 Messiah, 2 Nightrose, 1 Luard, and the Garmore player. And I think that's 8. So yeah, for the most part, I remember those decks. And oddly enough, I ended up facing the Nightrose player. So the 2 Nightrose players face off immediately in top 8, and his name is Trevor. So shout out to him. And we played. He was playing Seawall Banshee. I was playing Jin. He left Grenache in the Soul for the first 2 games, so his playstyle was a little different. Probably for getting the extra call from Gauche, which I get. That makes sense. First game, I was grade stuck. I saw 3 of my grade 3s hit the damage zone too. During that game, I'm like, I don't know why I'm getting grade stuck. I'm running 7 grade 3s now. I shouldn't be having this problem, especially if I had like 5 grade 3s before, had 6 grade 3s before. Why 7? But in game 2, it was a back and forth game, and I ended up breaking his hand eventually. It was Gauche, Negrosonger kind of thing. So yeah. Game 3, 2 things I noticed that I think hurt him. This time he called Grenache out to regard, but he left it as a back row booster, and you normally want him in the front row just so your opponent's tempted to attack it, and then that way you can keep cards like Necrobone behind it, so if you need to pop it, you can pop it, or you just call it over with King Serpent so it's in the drop, so Gauche can pick it up when he resolves the skill, that kind of thing. Or if you have Screaming Banshee, you could hollow it. But he wasn't playing Screaming Banshee because he was actually playing Performing Zombie. And he called 2 during that game, which means you just lost 2 10k shields out of your hand to deck from deck into drop zone. And I think that's what hurt him. And because he called the Grenache out of Soul, it's 1 less card for him to call. And probably, invest into his hand with like a Rough Seas or something like that. And so because of that, I was able to just win on first or second stride right away, and that's how I won that match. I think that Performing Zombie, the problem with it is that it's because it's a trigger, you lose shield value, and the use of it, that it takes up a slot. You can either play the Screaming Banshee, which has a better effect, because I think she at least gets you a card back so you don't lose anything if you do call it from hand, or she gets you a +1 if you call it from drop, and then of course she helps fix Grenache and Necrobook from the early game to become hollow and be useful. And then of course they go back to the drop zone, which you can reuse them later for the next turn. And then if you really wanted to use the card to get certain combo pieces before you first showed, then Chappie I think is a better card for that, because you are guarding and you're getting the shield value worth out of it, and you can get anything in deck. You search your deck for anything. And of course, Chappie's going to be able to use later for the Negronora if you really need to. Especially against the Gears match. You can do that and grab your Grenache back into drop, so you're set up for the next turn. So, that was my say in that. But it was still a good game. We went to 3 games. So, next round was the semifinals, round 2. I was facing Gears, and it was against Aaron Netabai. He was an admin on the Vanguardians group for like a year ago. So he's a nice guy. He seemed a little nervous, but I mean, we were tired. It was getting late that day, and I understood, and I told him, like, don't worry, if you need a few extra seconds to really think about your turn, that's cool. And he did the same thing with me. We didn't rush each other, so we wouldn't like misplay horribly or anything like that, and actually play a good game of Vanguard. So the first game, it was grindy. It's basically literally us ending our turns with 10 or more cards, multi-attacking, popping each other's shit because I needed to kill Gear Cat so he wouldn't be 10k base, and he needed a Caliban on my Cannoneer so he wouldn't be interrupted by a Cannoneer play. And I got it. Game 2, I got grade stuck again at grade 2 for whatever reason, and he went right to grade 3 because he had the grade 3 chick. I think it's like 10k base, but she gets like +4, and then it gets like -2 grade or something like that. It helps for them with like time leaping and shit. But he refused to ride a grade 3, but eventually he just gets me. And we go to game 3. It was grindy, and here's another misplay I did. So on a Negrosonger turn, It so happens to be on Nightrose again. With his skill, I brought back King Serpent. I forget that King Serpent is like super fucking huge because I had like 6 cards face up in the G zone right then. And I had a Nightstorm in the other column. And what I did, I attacked with the Nightstorm first, Counterblast, bring back Mick behind the King Serpent, so it's a booster now, and then give it +10. So I'm thinking that the column's actually 22 instead of King Serpent's big as fuck shit, 38. And I would have won if I had the, I would have won that turn if I instead did it the other way, where I attacked with King Serpent first and then Nightstorm, and then got me a Nagaruk to do another attack. And because of that, he had enough shield value to guard that big attack anyway, and just enough to stride for next turn. And he was at 5 and I was at 4, and I had to take the first next stage attack. I think he was on Gear Grovey, but it's basically next stage. He does a heal trigger, so he goes from 5 to 4, and then his third strive check was the crit trigger, and I'm like, fuck. And my 5th damage was a heal trigger, and I'm like, fuck, I can't heal. And the judge and even Aaron noticed, what are you talking about? We're at the same damage now because I just healed. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right. So I heal, and then take the next damage, which would put me to 5 again, was a sand trigger Mick, and it put me to 21 base, and to make it a lot easier to guard the rest of the attacks too. So the next turn I did Galleon, and then I definitely made sure that I would finish it, and it was pretty much for sure because he only had like 3 cards, and I know he didn't have a heal trigger because all it was like his drive checks. He had to discard the heal trigger because that's all he had in hand, and you have to discard 3 for next stage skill to resolve. So he had to discard the heal. So that made a huge difference too. But yeah, and that was game 3. So I won that, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to the finals, and I'm like fucking tired too. And I'm like, well, at least I don't feel like I have to win the next one, because if you lose in the semifinals, you had to face off for 3rd, because only top 3 get their name on the website and a trophy and a certificate, like notice here. And I was like, okay, so worst case, I lose in the finals, and I end up 2nd. That's awesome to me, but I'm gonna do my best and try to see if I can win the whole thing. So in the finals, I faced Gears again, and I'm facing Kevin Cho. And game 1, basically, it was grindy again, popping his Gear Cat. He's Calibumming my Cannoneer. We're ending our turns with 10 cards or more, and it came down to one turn, basically him breaking through my hand. Then game 2 started, and I was able to I was able to 3rd strike Galleon, and I just pretty much ended there barely. Barely. My last attack was a Negerbone boosting something, and I got a Nagaruk, and that was literally my last attack. And I was like, he's probably gonna guard this, and I attacked with Nagaruk just to put you to 6. If you have to guard this, you have to lose another card. And he's like, I have no cards in hand. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I have no cards in hand. I'm like, oh, so take damage? He's like, yeah. He took it, and it wasn't a heal trigger, so I won that game. I was like, oh my god, I actually won that game. Crap, we're going to game 3. I wish I was done, because it was very late at that point, but it's intense. So we played game 3, and that was also back and forth. Same thing. What was interesting, though, so I'm in a situation where I have a bunch of triggers in my hand. Ideally, it's a good defense. 3 of the cards are grade 1s. One of them is a PG. So this is really nice for defensive purposes. Like, I'm living this turn. And that's when I realized none of those grade 1s were Stride Fighter. And I'm like, fuck. Like, I need to draw a grade 2 at least to discard 2. Or even top deck a grade 3 or Stride Fighter to successfully stride into my next turn. And so during that turn, he Caliban my Cannoneer. And then when he ended his turn, he had to get back Calling Bomb, and he Calling Bomb my grade 1 that I called from the earlier one. And I call a Screaming Banshee from deck, and I hollow it, so when it died, I actually got a draw off of that. And sadly, it was a trigger, so that didn't help my case. Then I stood and draw, and it was another grade 1. Ironically, it was a PG. So I had to drop 3 grade 1s, including 1 PG, to fucking stride into Negersonger, which is a stride that normally doesn't get you advantage anyway, too, because you have to discard a card from hand, too. And it came down to basically I wasn't able to kill him that turn, and he went into the gear groovy, yeah, gear groovy, and it's the next stage turn basically, and he had 4 attacks left, one of them being the Chrono Jet Heart restored already, and I only had 3 cards in hand, and I could guard 3 of the 4, and it wasn't enough to stop it, and it's like, so I need to take this and hope for a heal, and I didn't get the heal, so I lost that match that way. But still, that was good. I felt accomplished. I was happy that I made it this far. I mean, there was a quick few seconds where I literally was waiting on Kevin to resolve his turn, and I just sat there and looked around my environment and noticed that we were the only ones playing, and I was like, this is only happening because we're literally in the finals. You know, who would have thought I would make it this far and, you know, achieving this, basically. So, and the top 3 was announced. I recorded that also on my channel, so feel free to check that out if you haven't yet. Very happy I got a trophy. This is the trophy, actually. I should probably show it in the camera. So, yeah, you can see my face. Hi. But, yeah, 2nd place. So, I was very close to winning it all, but it is what it is. But I very happy for this. And, you know, I got my name there. I got my little certificate. Got a top 8 mat. I mean, you guys pretty much saw it's just Chrono, really. I don't really care about Chrono, but I mean, as you can see, I'm playing Granblue instead of Gears. But yeah, it was really cool, and they took our pictures, and I assume that our names are going to be on the website, which is very cool too. So shout outs to my cousin Maro, my girlfriend Christina, and Maro's girlfriend Sam, for them kind of like helping me out during that day, because they brought me food and they waited for me patiently too, because they kind of need me, because we only drove in 1 car. So they were stuck there with me until like late night. But yeah, without them, I think I would have been very weak without any food in my stomach and that kind of thing. And there was no convention food kind of there, so even if I had the choice to pay for food, I didn't have any, like there was no food there, so I couldn't buy it, that kind of food. Shout out to Black Eye Senpai and his friends Dan, Tyler, and Miles. They were really nice, they were friendly, and it was cool. We Black Eye Senpai and I got some games in with Savas, against Savas, so I'll be look forward to that once I upload those. Congrats on him making it to day 2 with Favas. That's really cool. The real MVP kind of thing. Somebody from YouTube, the Awesome Card Guy one, his real name is Lizim. He came up to me and he said hi and everything, and it was really nice to meet somebody else too from YouTube. And his channel basically does like a bunch of clips from the Vanguard series, so like card fights that were pretty epic. Like last night I saw Leon versus Reverse Leon. It's been a while, and I was like, I want to watch this again. And so I went to his channel and watched it. So check out his channel. He has good card fight stuff out there too. And shout out to the fans that came up to me throughout the weekend. Brian was somebody from the Reddit looking for my card fight Vanguard clan. He was playing Tawas and he made it to day 2. So shout out to him too for making it that far. I think he said he got 17th overall, which is good. Nice. You know, like next time, you know, you make it top, 1 game at a time. That's definitely my advice. It was cool to see him in person too. Somebody else came up to me named Tron. He came up to me in the first day right off the back during the 2nd round. And he's just like, hey, are you Jaime? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, cool, I know you from your channel. I'm like, awesome. We talked, and he's playing Novas, and he made it to day 2 as well. And we're supporting each other too. Whenever we saw each other, hey, you got it? He's like, yeah, I'm still in. Let's go. You know, 1 game at a time. Let's go. So shout out to him. And Andres again, shout out to him, the one that came up to me for an autograph. That was really cool. And shout out to Alice, of course, for having Andres check out my channel because of that reason. And made me feel a little like a little celebrity status in that kind of sense. That was very cool. And then of course my friends, my little friend group that helped me get this far. David Aribratama from Australia. He is a very good player, and I've been talking to him for over a year now, and he's helped me out bouncing ideas. And he was the one that gave me the idea of playing 2 Starlight, and so I had the option there. knowing that he's done this kind of Starlight Loop kind of thing, and he's like, you have that option at least when you need it, and also you're at 7 grade 3, so it's less likely to get grade stuck. Even though I did get grade stuck in some games, I don't know why. But anyway, he's helped a lot, and I could definitely say that without him, I couldn't have made it this far too. So yeah, appreciate it, David. And my closer friends that I normally play, Ross, Jerry, Jamal, Eduardo, and Miguel, we usually play casually, or we play practicing for events, and they all play different kinds of decks, so that's very valuable information. You want to go in a tournament knowing all this kind of what decks are being played and what they do, so you're not there reading card per card what the hell they do, and also set up properly for your opponent's turn, especially in a deck like Nightrose where it has access to Cannoneer, right? That kind of thing. And of course, people from Grapple Games, the card shop around here in Bourbonnais, Evan, JR, David, Andy, and Luke, and others there. Shout out to those guys. And of course, Card Fighters on the ground, Dirk, Jabron, Eon, Maverick, Kevin, Albert, all those people that I saw and met that day. Shout out to them. And so, yeah, again, it was awesome. I was nervous, I was happy, I was jittery, I was feeling all kinds of emotions. It's very, it can be nerve-wracking, and thanks for previous events that I've been able to top, I was able to cope with it and get farther this time even, and make it as far as second. I mean, shit, I almost came close to winning it all, and who knows, I could have gone to fucking Japan next time, right? But yeah, and also thanks to all those subscribers that are recently joined. I noticed that a good amount of subscribers joined over this time frame. Really do appreciate it for you guys rooting me. I had a lot of people on Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, overall, congratulating me, and also saying like, hey, nice deck profile, and nice, you did a good job, and wow, can you help me out with Nightrose, and all those kinds of things have already happened throughout this whole week. And I really do appreciate it. It's really cool meeting the fans too. So always feel free to come up to me if you see me at an event. I will definitely keep you guys updated if I go to future events soon, just like I did with this one. And hope you guys like this kind of stuff still. I like doing it, and I'll keep doing it. So I think that's it. So until next time, see you guys. Bye.